A teenager who went on an Auckland-wide crime spree that included carjacking an elderly woman and leaving her hospitalised with a broken nose and concussion has been jailed. Lily Pritchard-Davis laughed and waved to friends as she sat in the dock at the Auckland District Court today. The 18-year-old's lawyer arrived with a wad of 28 letters, one for each of her victims. Our Auckland Court reporter Edward Gay was there and is beside me in the studio. Edward, I remember this case very well because one of the victims was Nancy Voon, who was a wonderful elderly woman whose family we interviewed in the days after this attack. What was discussed in court today?
Yeah, that's right. Nancy Voon, the court heard, had just arrived at the Lagoon Leisure Centre and she was waiting in the car park when Pritchard-Davis and her friend pulled up in a stolen Honda. Pritchard-Davis's friend threatened Miss Voon with a screwdriver before pulling her from the car and punching her in the face, and she was also kicked. She was in her 60s, Miss Voon, and Pritchard-Davis, she got into the driver's seat of Miss Voon's car and the pair drove off, leaving Miss Voon with broken teeth, a broken nose and severe concussion. Miss Voon has had to spend days in hospital after that attack. Pritchard-Davis, she was on bail at the time after being drunk at a dumpling restaurant in Northcote where she punched the owner in the face and bit her on the thigh after being asked to leave.
Okay, she was then on the run effectively, wasn't she?
That's right, the police couldn't find her, she wasn't turning up to her court appearances, there were warrants out for her arrest, but Pritchard-Davis, the court heard, kept offending. Other charges that she was sentenced to today, they related to stealing cars, being part of a group that were carrying out ram raids on petrol stations on the North Shore and Te Aratu, and taking cigarettes and tills. There was also a spate of smashing glass shop fronts across Mangere and Onehunga, and Pritchard-Davis was also involved in a 40-minute chase by the police, car chase.
Well, they finally caught up with her though, right?
Yeah, that's right. They finally caught up with her in a house in Manurewa. Pritchard-Davis locked herself in the bathroom before being dragged out by the police. But even once they had her in handcuffs in the back of a patrol car, she leaned over and bit a female police officer on the arm. A victim impact statement from this officer, she said that she thought Pritchard-Davis would take a chunk out of her arm, and she had a nervous 3-month wait while she waited for blood test results to come back. Pritchard-Davis later told police she wasn't worried about going to prison because that gave her notoriety with her mates. Judge Emma Aitken today said there was an order for $40,000 in reparation. That included damage to the shop fronts, the stolen cigarettes, other property taken, the damage to stolen cars used in the ram raids, but Pritchard-Davis has no way of paying.
Pritchard-Davis is 18, right, Eddie?
That's right.
And what do we know about her background? Because I suspect that's going to inform and explain some of this, is it?
It's a troubled background. I mean, Judge Aitken described it as less than ideal, but she's the eldest of 7 children. Her mother has spent time in prison for the manslaughter of her youngest sister. Pritchard-Davis herself was passed around relatives before winding up in child, youth and family care. 11 different primary schools, dropped out of school at 15, ran away. She lived on the streets, heavy drinking, meth addiction. It goes on, and her lawyer Peter Dean said his client was sorry for what she had done and was motivated to change. She's tried to book into Odyssey House while she was out, and that fell through. Judge Aitken took time off for Lily Pritchard-Davis's early guilty pleas, her youth and remorse. Her sentence was end sentence 4 years and 2 months.
Edward Gay, thank you so much for telling us all about that. Our court reporter here in Auckland, Eddie Gay.